So where does that leave Ridgid then? Well, let's talk about Ridgid real quick. Of course, many of you know Ridgid is owned by Emerson, but really there's two Ridgids. We got Ridgid Red. That's the professional, mostly plumbing kind of line tool there. And then we've got, when you see down here, power tools, suddenly Ridgid Red turns orange. Yep, even gets the underline in orange because Ridgid power tools are not made by Emerson. They're in fact made by TTI. I know this is a repeat for some of you, but bear with me here. Now, TTI owns Milwaukee. They own the rights to Ryobi in North America and Australia. They own Hart, of course, sold in Walmart. Bunch of vacuum companies and stuff like that. Stiletto as well as a hammer company. And then they own this little company down here called AEG. Now, I'll forgive you if you don't know what AEG is, but they're a company that's mainly sold in Europe and Australia. And if you look at them, they look decidedly orange. In fact, yeah, that's the truth. AEG is really just Ridgid and not in the United States. So everywhere else, when you're looking at Ridgid tools, they're really AEG tools. So what happened is when Emerson approached them, they said, sure, we could just take these AEG tools, slap Ridgid on them, and sell them in the States. So there is no real separate development for Ridgid. It's really AEG, and whatever they care to ship over here is what we get. Now, here's the thing. Now, if you look right now, you see on AEG Europe, you see no outdoor power equipment, which if you've been around the channel, you know I've shown you before. I had to go over to Australia. For some reason, they've hidden it from Europe now. It's only in Australia, and we can see what tools they already have. This is not in development. This is not coming soon. This is you can go to the stores and buy and have been able to for some time. So we don't really have to guess, most likely, what's coming out from Ridgid. They're probably just selecting a few handful of tools to help expand the line, beef it up a little bit, and make it competitive with the other brands that are on the market. You know, they were head to head against Porter Cable. Porter Cable got replaced by Craftsman. Craftsman has been eating their lunch. There's just no two ways about it. So let's take a look. Of course, the easy one to guess, the low-hanging fruit, is the line trimmers, because that's what we saw in the video. Now, there's two types here. We see a 18 volt, which is the no-brainer, and a 58 volt. I would not hold my breath hoping that 58 line is going to make it here to the U.S. I think we're going to see these 18 volt trimmers here with the appropriate, accessories and stuff that go along with them. I think we'll probably see a standard one, and we'll probably see an attachment ready. Why? Well, we already see that in Milwaukee. We see that in Ryobi. We see that in Hart. We already know that TTI likes to do the attachment ready kind of stuff. They've already built the lineup for it, so why not put a Ridgid sticker on it and sell it that way? The next low-hanging fruit, of course, is going to be blowers. The 18-volt blowers is something they already have. They call it a job site blower. It doesn't take much to call it a leaf blower. In fact, if you're a Hart fan, they've been around the channel, you've seen this blower right here sold as a 40-volt Hart blower all day long. So yeah, they're doing conversions, and they're selling them under different brands. That is clear. Now, what else might we see? Well, I think we're going to see a hedge trimmer, at least one hedge trimmer. You got to have a hedge trimmer. You got to have a line trimmer. You got to have a blower if you want to call yourself an outdoor power equipment line. Another good add-on, of course, I think would be a chainsaw, and I think we'll probably see at least two chainsaws. We'll see a compact and a full-size chainsaw. Why a full-size? Well, because Ridgid is aimed at the prosumer budget pro market, and you can't have a budget pro chainsaw without having a full-size chainsaw. So I think we'll see a 12-inch, and I think we'll see an 18 or 16-inch. In fact, looking at these, it looks like they only have 18 and 12-inch, so it looks like it's going to be one of those two. Now, getting a little more out there in the weeds, if you would, is the brushless brush cutter. I'm not so sure we'll see something like this. Again, this is in the 58 volt series. Even if they downgraded it to a 50 or 18 volt, I don't see it being quite on line with what they're selling for the Ridgid brand. It goes too much closer to the professional grade, and they're trying to take Milwaukee into that, so I'm not seeing that going to happen there. At least my money wouldn't be on it. The attachments we talked about, I think we will see these attachments. I think we will see a pole extension, an edger, a pole saw, and the hedge trimmer as well. I think we will see probably all of those. maybe even a snow thrower attachment. Who knows? The one that's a little more skeptical is these sprayers. I think sprayers are a good accessory. I don't see them converting this 18/58 volt system down. Maybe these just seem a little too high end. If they've got another lower end version of this, I could definitely see that happening. But they don't want to compete. They've squashed not Dwell. I'm saying Dwell. They've squashed Ridgid before when they've gotten a little. They've flown too little close to the Milwaukee Sun, and they've smacked them down. I don't see them doing that again here. Now, the other one I don't think we're going to see is I don't think we're going to see these post hole diggers. These are 2x18. To get the power down there, they need to double up. I think if we see a 2x18 system, it's going to be over in red. All right, and now something else I don't think is going to happen, but I could be entirely wrong about this. I think it'd be pretty far-fetched to see a Ridgid lawnmower, but I've been wrong before once or twice. I'm sure if you ask my wife, she'll tell you all about them. But anyway, the point is that, again, these are 2x18 systems. Kind of makes you wonder where they got the 2x18 setup that we see in Milwaukee Red. In fact, if you look kind of close, you can definitely see some similarities where that inspiration came from. I don't think that any of these things that are in the dual battery or in the 58 volt, I don't see them coming in for Ridgid. I would I would guess that they're going to come in Milwaukee Red if they come overseas. Now that's it. How's this going to affect things over at Big Orange? Of course, Ridgid is the one of the exclusive brands at Home Depot between Milwaukee, Ryobi, and Husky. So, you think that they'd be having a bunch of stuff over there. And people have been getting upset when I say that Ridgid kind of feels like they're on their way out. And I'm going to show you again why I say that. We go over there. This is supposed to be one of their exclusive brands. They should be hot and heavy on this. This is the Goldilocks zone between the low-end Ryobi and the high-end Milwaukee. You think there'd be a lot of love there. Look, we see 165 products listed. That's pretty good. Of the power tools, there's 97 power tools. Yeah, sure, if I go in store and get some, what am I going to look at? 13 tools. Let that sink in. This is an exclusive brand that they're now expanding, and they carry 13 tools in store. And most of these are just varying degrees of combo kits. It's not like it's 13 different tools. Is this a last-ditch effort to make Ridgid relevant? Kind of feels like it. Again, this feels like Ridgid trying to figure out who they are or who they want to be when they grow up. They've gone subcompact. They tried to go high-end, and they got smacked down. They're trying to go subcompact. Maybe that's where they're going to end up. I don't see that happening. The Milwaukee 12 volt system is just too good for them to really make a niche there. I know the Ridgid fanboys are going to be upset when they hear this. I just think that this is too little too late to try and give Ridgid an identity. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments. You can bash the bear all you want. You all take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.